Can you explain to me how I'm supposed to put this back? What's up guys, my name is Emil and this is the most random Mercedes video I've probably ever shot. I wasn't even gonna shoot a video or series on this truck. I picked this up for my wife about 2 weeks ago. It's a non-running ML320 2009 Bluetec. According to the previous owner, the swirl flap motor burned out, which caused some sort of a short, which burned out the entire harness apparently. All I know is that when I picked it up, the car did not even crank, and it has anywhere between 12 and 20 codes for sensors with values out of whack and all sorts of stuff. So it might just be a ground somewhere, or maybe it is shorted out through the motor. I don't really know. The point is, I'm trying to chase it down. I'm trying to figure it out. Now, as I'm doing this, I'll show you a couple of fun things that I discovered. But as I'm doing this, I noticed that actually my fuel gauge shows empty. So according to the fuel gauge on the dash, the tank is empty. It's at 0. I've got the light on, and I actually have a code for air in the fuel rail because the engine's been run on an empty tank, which is a little weird because I filled the tank up. The tank's actually full, regardless of what the gauge says. The tank is actually full, but the car does not start the fuel pump, and I'm having a code for air in the system. Now, if I go and scan the rear SAM, it gives me a code for a right tank sensor, level sensor, that's like implausible, short to ground, something like that. This sat at a European/Mercedes shop, I imagine for months. The tires were low, the brakes are all rusted, it didn't start. The owner gave me some sort of history that I'm starting to think doesn't really check out, though considering how pissed off the mechanic was when I went to get the key for the car, I'm guessing this thing sat there forever while they're trying to diagnose it, and probably the owner didn't pay his bill, whatever. Anyways, so as I'm trying to chase down some sort of a grounding issue, just wanted to show you a couple of things that I discovered. So I've got this guy here. Frankly, a little bit interesting. Forget the shady soldering work, but I can't actually find the other side of this cable. I don't know if this is something somebody tried to add. There's no other green wire in here that's actually cut. So I have no idea what this is. So I have to repair this connector. Under here, we've got another connector that was repaired. Frankly, not really sure why that would have been, considering this is a pretty big power line. Not really sure what's going on here. Under the dash, we've got a really funny one. So I've got 4 cables. Honestly, no idea where to even go. There's 4 cables that are basically just cut out. In the back, we've got the SAM was just kind of dangling off on the side. It wasn't actually attached to where it's supposed to be. Down here, I've got more wires that I'm not really sure where they go. To me, this looks like it would be maybe something to do with a trailer hitch, although these cars generally come with a stock hitch and wire setup, so I'm not really sure what this is. I've got a loose ground wire just kind of sitting at the back. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's probably a little bit dark, but loose ground wire there. Lots of questionable electrical work, let's put it that way. So I'm assuming this is some sort of a grounding problem. Probably the harness is messed up, so it's a little cold outside to start taking everything apart. So I'm trying to kind of, do a quick diagnostic and see if I can figure something out. And while I'm doing that, I figured I've got this code for air in the fuel rail. My fuel pump is not running, even though the relay at the back checks out. So I'm not getting the control signal from the ECU. So I'm starting to think this may have something to do with the faulty sensor in the fuel tank, because it's showing me 0 and it has a code for running the engine on empty tank. That doesn't clear out. Easy enough. Let's go and check out the fuel pump and the right sensor. I've seen a lot of stupid stuff in my day. I really have. And unfortunately, I'm not even talking about the shady work that somebody's done on this car. I'm talking about original Mercedes design. I've never thought that I was going to see this. I've pulled out the fuel pump from like 50 cars, 45 of which have probably been Audis and Volkswagens. And pulling the fuel pump on one of these is usually a matter of 3 screws, simple gasket, lid comes off, access to the fuel pump, turn your little plastic, lock ring, fuel pump comes out. So imagine my surprise when I tried to do that on my 2009 Mercedes ML320, and sadly I suspect it's the exact same thing on my GL 320, and I suspect it's the exact same thing on that R-Class right there. Here's the lid that covers the access to the fuel pump and the sensor. This lid, as you can tell, is glued to the chassis with this sealant, garbage thing, and doesn't actually have screws on it. Like you cannot actually unscrew this and remove it so you can access the system. What you have to do, according to Mercedes, is you have to actually pry this lid. So this thing sits like this. So you have to actually take, pry bars to get this lid out of here. I honestly hope somebody at Mercedes got fired over this, because if I had an employee, some engineer was working for me and handed this design that went onto all these trucks to access a maintenance item such as the fuel pump and actually, the fuel tank level sensors, which fail on cars. That's why I've opened so many of them, because the fuel pumps and the sensors will fail. Who thought this was a good idea? Who in their right mind figured that in order for you to access the fuel pump on any vehicle, you need to pry out a panel that you cannot even reuse after? Can you explain to me how I'm supposed to put this back? Is this a part? Am I supposed to order this from Mercedes and re-glue it back on there? Who did this? This is anyways, please comment below and give me an example of a more stupid design than this. I worked on my buddy's Hyundai, like 2004, 5 Hyundai, something like that, which had the entire rear carpet over the brake cables. And I thought this was the most stupid thing in the world, because you couldn't access the clamp that was holding the brake cable down without taking out the rear seats and the carpet and everything else. I thought this was it. I thought this was the pinnacle of stupidity. But apparently, Mercedes topped up Hyundai. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a better example of automotive stupidity than the lid to access a fuel pump on a Mercedes X164, W164, by all means comment below, because I'd love to see one. All right, I'll see you guys next time.